like a professional operation. Oh, the battery's low. That's nice. How you doing? Thanks for tuning in. I'm Jimmy. We're making it work. We're gonna hit the next phase of the body work on the 62 C10. You saw the part 1 video. I'm gonna try to do it in 4, maybe 5 videos. I don't want to bore you guys with sanding and stuff over and over and over and make 20 videos out of it. I don't think that's fair to you guys. So I'll just film stages and get a few weeks worth of footage together and release another video, that kind of thing. Anyway, you guys tell me what you think in the comments. The 62 C10's got 106 videos now. So I did a video starting to take it from patina to a daily driver level paint job. I'm not doing a show paint job. I'm gonna make it look decent, it'll be shiny. The body work, I'm gonna get 80–90% of perfect. I've seen some videos where guys are spraying with guide coat, block sanding, priming body work, spraying with guide coat, block sanding, priming. They're doing it like 6–8 times. I don't know what the limit is on that, but we're not doing that here. I'll get the body where I think it's pretty close. I'll guide coat it, make some corrections, prime it, and paint it. That's how it's gonna go, just so you know. If you want to see how to do it yourself, I don't really have a space indoors. I'm lucky I work at a shop. I can get it under a roof at least when I do my body work and stuff. I don't do it inside because it makes a lot of dust. That's where it's going to get painted too. So for the DIYer, this video should help. It's a matter of determination and getting something finished. That's how I don't like to leave stuff undone. So that's what we're doing. If you want to see some more body work and prep work, getting rid of rust, this car's got an awful lot of heavy rust. It's not through, it's not rot, it's surface rust. But there's spots where it's pitted actually a little bit too. So we're going to treat that with a metal etch treatment, that phosphoric acid. It turns it from rusty metal into good solid metal. It kind of kills the rust. Of course, then you got to put epoxy primer. I might even put 415 on it, and then put my urethane primers and stuff and do my body work over that. Blah 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 blah, flappity flap flap. Let's get into the video. Stay tuned if you want to check it out. Now you can see that there's a little bit of rust here. It's not terrible. It's nowhere near as bad as it looks, but it is pretty rusty. The door I'm going to work on. I got to get all this off because it's delaminating from being painted 3 or 4 times and not being taken down to the metal. This is like one of the worst spots. So we got to take all this down. This has already been sanded and I made it look like patina, but I'm going to smooth it all out. I'm going to have to hit everything with some 120 or so to get good latch or adhesion into my primers. There's some body work here. Someone put some pinstripings after grinding off the body filler. They pinstriped it. I have to smooth all that out. It's going to get a skim body filler. Perfect. I treated the rust already. I use concrete patch product. If you haven't seen the other videos, clean strip concrete and metal prep. It's the same product as Osfo. It might have slightly different detergents or something. I'm not sure about that part, but it does the same thing to the rust. Leaves this white powdery behind. If you let it dry too much, that's what happens. You're really supposed to take it off before it goes that far, but you can always spray it again and wipe it all down. I try to wipe it with wax and grease remover. You can use water too, but you might be helping to reinitialize the rust if you do that. So I try to use a solvent. Just as it starts to look like it's starting to dry, I'll wipe it back off. As long as that rust has changed colors like you can see here. It was popping red like this before. So now it looks like a blackish brown color. We might even treat it one more time. You can see what it does to paint. You don't want to get that stuff on any paint, whether it's Osfo or the clean strip version of it or whatever. You want to be a little careful. This isn't bolted down, don't worry about that. I've already straightened out my door. When I did this, it was all going to stay patina forever, so the flange of the door wasn't too great. This gap's a little big. I'm not really concerned with that, to tell you the truth. I could weld some coat hanger on the edge of this if I really decide I want to get into that far. I don't think I'm going to do that though. I do have quite a wave here, so I'm going to work on that. I might put a little heat and just push it out with a pry bar. I know it sounds chaotic, or what's the word? Caveman style, but I'm not going to buy the tool to pull dents with the welding sticks, which is the best way. That would be to grind the paint off, Use the welding rods that come with a little tool and a slide hammer. You weld them on, slide hammer all the dents out, get it pretty straight and nice, but we're not doing that. We're gonna get it pretty close, flood it with body filler, call it a day. Just like people would do at home. We'll bring the camera in a little here and there as I tweak on things and show you a little bit of the process, and you might pick up something that'll help you with your project. All right, we got the door stripped down, and I went over it with my electric angle grinder is the one I have my rust pads on, and they take it down quite a bit. Not to sheer perfection, but as far as I need to go. I got a little spot here I got to finish up. That's what it looked like. This is after hitting it with the DA, but not the rust pad yet. The rust pad gets it down to this. The DA gets it down to that. Unless you got a lot of time on your hands. The harder part is around the window, which luckily isn't stuck too good. It's a little pain, and I always mask off the window so I don't get scratches on the glass as easy. It's still possible. You gotta be careful, but you can see how everything, the green especially, seems to be the worst. This cream color was on top of the green, so the green was painted and didn't adhere very well. Then the cream went on top of that, and then whatever I did after that. But you see this green right here? When I hit it, it peels off instead of sanding off. So that's what's doing in here too. And it's even thinner in here, because when someone's painting the car, they tend to go like this and maybe like that, but they rarely ever go in here. And I always see, even on show cars, I see dry paint in the edge. You gotta basically paint the masking tape when you spray the paint, and that's why it's not adhered too good. It's very thin, and luckily it sands off easily, like all these edges here. You can actually just watch it peel and see the chunks of paint. So even though I'm not doing the greatest paint job in the world, I don't want it to fall off in 6 months. Because anytime I've ever heard of, seen, or been involved with a paint job that was rushed and preparation was too expensive and too time consuming, the paint doesn't stay on the car long. 6 months, maybe 6 years. But in reality, the paint should stay on until it gets damaged or fades away, which, you know, the car's taken care of. That's what, 20 years maybe? So aftermarket paint job, 10 years I think is a good you know, expectation if you do the right preparation and take care of the paint when you're done. And there's some dings here. This it's a little bit low here, it's a little low here. You can see where everything lines up, and then right here it doesn't. So I got to put a little filler. This actually curves in right here. You could probably see that. And then there's a dent right here. But the rest of the door is really pretty straight. I still got to work on the bottom. I haven't gotten the motivation yet to do that. This is the low spot right here. And I think what I'm going to do is just put a pry bar in the hole and use the back side of the pry bar with some heat to kind of get it to relax, reduce the amount of Bondo or body filler I need. I think we're going to be all right. I took some of this down, smoothed it out. This is a low right here, right down this edge. They actually sell an emblem that goes around this edge and says custom, which this truck's supposed to have come with. And I think there's holes where it was bolted in, but I'm not sure. I might get those just to not have to do more body work, right? We'll see. What this is doing is little by little, stretching the metal. It's either that or reskin the skin I skinned the last time I skinned it. That's not going to make it perfect by any means. Carl Fisher from Make It Custom and some of those guys, they would get this panel relieved and heat and shrink it everywhere they need to, and very little, if any. Matter of fact, a lot of those guys like Kyle at Carter's Auto Restyling, he'd probably do it so you don't need any body filler too. There's quite a few guys that actually do that. But to me, that's something you do on a $200,000 restoration, not something you do on this. All I want to do is keep the Bondo about 1/4 of an inch or less. If I end up having a really low spot, I'll take a straight edge. I could put some of that fiberglass filler in the low spots so that the Bondo is not too heavy. So we got a little more work to do, but I'm going to keep doing that, trying to get it all close. I'd rather have, you know, 100 little tiny bumps than a 1-inch concave panel. Back at it. Ooh, that's ugly. You ugly. You ugly. What I'll probably do is fill this, sand it, and as soon as it starts touching this metal, good enough. Is it going to be right? Nope. But is it going to be done? Yep. Put this up mostly to keep dirt out of the truck. Sanding dust. Plus when I do spray this, it won't get on that, because the weather stripping is close there, but it's far away the rest of the door. So this part of the door, the weather stripping is close to the edge. I think that's pretty close. I'm going to get a little more low spot here and here. And then I think we're going to call it on this door and throw some primer on it. Probably going to do single stage. I haven't locked that in and ordered the paint yet. I'm contemplating a base coat, clear coat, only because if you do the base coat and you have problems with bugs and stuff, you can get it out. And then when you do clear coat, if you have problems with bugs, it's easier to cut and buff, sand and buff, get little bugs out of it. If you do single stage, you can do a cut and buff type of thing, but it's a little more complicated to get it right. At least in my experience. Maybe someone with more experience, it's not too big of a deal either way. So anyway, I haven't locked that in yet, but we are here getting ready to knock out another section of this truck, get it ready for paint. Today, I'm going to try to strip this bed panel down and get it looking like the rest of the truck, taking care of all this rust. I already treated this last week, give it a lot of time to dry and set up nice. Now I can grind as much of that rust off as possible, get it down to nice looking metal. It's going to have some pits. It's got little pits. It's not terrible though. Grind it all down, get it nice looking metal, then I'm going to treat it once more, wipe it down, wax and grease remover, and throw some primer on it and go on to the next panel. I'm going to do the tailgate last. I'm going to take these chains off. I've got the hidden latch pin kit that you put the latches in here and they slide. You got to grab both sides at a time. And we're going to do that. So that's not going to be just yet. Might be in the end of this video, might be the beginning of part 3. We'll see. Let's get to work and stop flapping the gums. You get the idea. It's got some pitting. Not horrendous. I got high build urethane primer for that. We'll see how all that goes. We got plans. It's 4 36 grit sanding discs on the DA. Whatever this is really stuck on there good. I can't get it off. It's almost like the metal's stained. So I'm gonna leave it. If it's not falling off, I don't really. The stuff that I painted on there was actually stuck really good, which is surprising because I didn't do a lot of prep. I sanded it, scuffed it with 80 grit, and then I did wax and grease remover, and then I sprayed single stage acrylic urethane. And it was stuck on there good. You can still see a little bit of it. I'm pretty happy with that. I know that that paint's nice and sticky. It's going to give me a good result. So as long as I get it reasonably clean, it's going to work. These pits are a little worse than I had hoped, but still not a disaster. I'm going to put 415 on it, I think. I'm going to treat it one more time, and then I've got gray 415 that I can put on with a roller just to seal in and destroy any rust so it doesn't get worse. Uh-oh. It's the cops. A lot of accidents in Kissimmee where I live. You gotta turn white right off the bat. Whatever that is does not like this rust treatment product, which tells me it's a good thing I'm using it. I'm gonna spray the whole panel down. It costs about, I think it was $26 for that instead of $100. I'd rather use the name brand stuff, but when it gets to be that big of a difference, nope.
I'm gonna wipe the heavy stuff off. That's the rust it's reacting with.
Gonna get this all wiped down. Come over with some wax and grease remover and make sure I got all any residue that might affect paint adhesion. Although this stuff is paintable, you allegedly can paint over it. I still prefer to remove most of it. If there's a tiny little bit that you miss with wax and grease remover treatment, then it's not the end of the world, because allegedly you can paint right over it. All right, you gotta stir, not shake, kind of like James Bond likes. The product separates, and a little bit of the goo that makes it very effective settles to the bottom, so you gotta stir it very well. I prefer to use an old metal screwdriver. It's reusable. I just wipe it down with wax and grease remover, make sure it's completely clean. I'm not using this one, I got a better one. And stir it up real good. Pour it in my paint pan. I'm going to use a roller because there's a camper right next to the truck. I don't want to spray it. You could spray this on. I'm just going to roll it because it's just going to be a base. Primer and body work's going to go over it. So it doesn't have to be perfectly smooth, although this is a smooth texture roller. You can even buy foam ones that'll go even smoother. Well, this hasn't been sitting too long. That's good. I've had them where this stuff's 1/4 of an inch on the bottom. This one's not bad. Now this has a rust treatment product of some kind in it. I'm not sure the exact chemistry, but it's not regular primer. It's made to encapsulate and keep rust from growing. If something's delaminating and it's destroyed already, this doesn't stop that. It stops surface rust. So you clean everything off, you get the surface looking as good as you can, get all the loose rust and scale, then you apply this product. And there are other products that are very similar. Some will claim they're better, some will claim they're worse. Usually depends on who sponsors them, but I'm not sponsored, I bought this. Doesn't mean if you're sponsored you're automatically lying. It just means you're less likely to say it's the same. You know what I mean? I'm gonna pour about that in there, see if that's enough for what I need. Anywhere I sanded a lot of rust, I'm going over it a couple times. Doesn't have to be uniform. It'll treat the rust very well. Wherever there's bare metal, a little bit goes a long way. Well, now it's dry. It stays shiny. I was hoping it wouldn't do that. I'm gonna lay some urethane primer over it. Did the hood too, because the hood had little specks where there was a tiny little bit of rust poking through again, and we don't want any of that. So we're gonna give it a scuff and some urethane primer and start our body work once we finish the other 1/4 panel and the tailgate. I sanded this down to where the sun was earlier so I can stay in the shade, and because this head doesn't really like direct sunlight very long. I get 5-10 minutes to the max. So I got this stripped down pretty much. I'm gonna wipe it down with wax and grease remover, another rust treatment in case there's any pinholes in here. Just like on the other panels, if you've seen video 1, it's really hard to get everything out of here. I'm going to use some kind of a file, a pointed file, just to scrape whatever I can scrape out of that. And then paint's going to seal up whatever's in there. It doesn't look to be rust. It looks to just be a lot of paint. It used to look like this, all flaking off. And I got to get a little more off here before I coat it. I ran a file in here and got quite a bit of gunk out of that gap. And now wiping the excess off. The stuff actually gets really sticky and it's paintable, but I still hit it with wax and grease remover before I'm ready to spray my primer or put my Pour 15, whichever I'm going to use on. I think I got a car to work on, so we're gonna switch back to day in the shop footage. That's got to set up a little while, and I'll roll some Pour 15 or brush some Pour 15 on there, and by then maybe the shade will be hitting that. Well, I don't know if I got this painted in time. It's still tacky. There's lots of sand getting blown in it because it's very windy. Notice how it turned green. No UV protectant, that's what they say. And I'm guessing they're 100% right. Well, we'll see if it's dry enough. Maybe it'll still rust protected even if it's not 100% dry. I'll just have to resand it, because it's about to get nasty. All right, well, humidity dries the paint, but the drops of water definitely roughened up the surface. I'm gonna have to definitely sand it back down. But for now, it's gonna keep the metal not bare. I'm working on filing the back half. The weather seems to have passed, and this little file, I have a mini set of snap-on files. We only use the best on this channel. You can see how I'm kind of able to dig out whatever old paint, a little bit of rust, and other things that are in between this seam here. And you might have known already, but I feel compelled. I'm not making a show truck, just to make it look halfway decent and not have the paint fall off in a month. Fast and Furious, bro. Thought it was a Mustang. Got a big Hellcat on the side. So I'm gonna keep picking at this, get this file down pretty good, and then we'll this was really bad in here, so I'm gonna have to definitely do this. Is not quite as rusty as the front was, but there are some patches, like where there was body filler in the middle here. At some point someone ground it off and just let it rust, so I've got most of it off. Not too bad. You can't feel it, but that's what the treatment's for, the stuff you can't feel but you see. This will all turn a little bit black. Same process as before. We'll just keep at it. And after this, all I gotta do is the tailgate. I'm gonna take the bumper off. Did I tell you I got new bumpers? You'll see. The last thing will be the tailgate. That needs a little more work. I might have to do some metal work in here where I wasn't worried about it before. I could even use some fiberglass Bondo if I can clean the area out really good so it'll stick. I got cables to put inside here, and I got latches I think I mentioned earlier. I'm going to take those off. We'll weld that hole, weld this one, clean it up a little bit while we're in here. Might as well, right? The cables and the latches all together were like 65 bucks. It takes a little bit of work to install it all, but we'll do that. We'll make a video. And let me finish. This is tedious, so I was chit-chatting with you while I work, but I know it's not too exciting. So we'll come back once I get this done. You can see this stuff does not like rust, and rust doesn't like this stuff. A couple little specks, we can just hit those with a towel probably, no big deal. A little at a time. You just keep going back and forth, cleaning, and always gotta hit it with the wax and grease remover. Even when you think you just ground it all off, there can't be any contaminants on the surface. I don't know what it is, but you wipe it down with wax and grease remover, everything sticks better. I've done a couple paint jobs where people didn't want to spend money and they're trying to cut corners and not provide some of these chemicals and stuff, and the paint jobs don't last. Cutting corners is something you can do in certain circumstances and certain parts of the process, but cleanliness is one of them you definitely can't if you want something to last. If you're just painting it real quick to run it through Mecum auction, that's different. Well, the weather's saying it might rain a little on and off, so I just hit it with some direct to metal primer real quick. I don't want to have to sand the whole entire quarter panel down. I already know I got to sand this off. See, it's peeling. So that ain't gonna fly. I really did. Oh, a helicopter. It's awful quiet, isn't it? I really did not think that was gonna come off. There's nothing left of it. It is warm though. I use my gear wrench 1/2 inch to 3/8 adapter and an assortment of hardware. I'm taking the bumper off now. Got my restored license plate bracket off. Got my jack ready to go. Since this jack sits outside, it has begun leaking air. Got one bolt left. Just trying to reduce the falling part. At least the bumper won't fall too far. Not that I care about it, I just don't want to have it hit me. I'm going to try to get this last bolt. The rest of them came off. I put deep creep on them. It seems to be working okay. It came out of the bumper hole. You missed the whole thing, didn't you? I gotta find a way to hold the carriage bolt. Susie sells seashells by the seashore. Blah, blah, blah. Oh, I know what I can do. Let's do this. Watch your fingers. You gotta get it in the hole. There we go. A cigarette. That should lift off of there now, I think. Is off. I'm probably not going to reuse this, but certainly not going to throw it away till I'm 100% sure. Never throw anything away. I'm not even going to throw away the bumper. I'm going to put it in the back, not right at the scrap pile, but not far from it, just in case. I mean, who knows, you can cut a piece of metal off of it if you have to fabricate something heavy duty. Put a little cutout in there, because these latches for the 62, they don't stay back and you pull them back. So if you put a little notch, I'm going to put one facing one way, one facing the other way, so that I can decide when I put them in if I want the knob to go down or up to release it. That way you don't have to hold both open at the same time. You can just put it in the open position, and I got it so it'll just barely stay. So just dropping the latch might make it close, I'm not sure, but one of the problems people have when they put these in is keeping these open, and when you close the latch you got to open them as well, otherwise they won't go in place because you're putting it into a hole, right? So that's what we're doing now. Doesn't matter if I scratch these up, this all goes inside the tailgate. You drill a hole to slide this in the tailgate and drill a hole here to lock them in place. It takes a while because it's stainless. It's a little hard on these bits, but it's worth it. Not enough yet, a little more to go. Yeah, that'll do it. Could go a tiny bit more, but I think that'll be good. As long as it holds it out, it's about 70% of the diameter of the pin, so that it'll go past this, becomes kind of a fulcrum. I want to clean up. I just felt a slightly sharp edge. I don't want to be like auto manufacturers, take all the sharp edges off. Be very careful when you're doing this kind of stuff too, because those carbide bits, if you spin them fast, they shoot those little slivers of metal that are almost basically microscopic, the tiniest little slivers. They'll get in your eyes and your hair, they'll get on your skin. You wonder why you're itchy or something. You be real careful with this. Anytime you use these carbide burrs, be real careful. But we've got our latches modified. All we gotta do now is get to the tailgate work. Anyway, thanks for watching today's video. Hope you enjoyed it. Maybe you'll torque the like button before you head out. Most of all, I hope you have a great weekend. I hope everyone that's a dad got a little bit of appreciation. Happy Father's Day to you guys. Hope I see you in the next video more than anything, because you're awesome.